When you hear evil scientists, maybe you think of Dr. Frankenstein or the brain from Pinky and the Brain. Well, let me tell you something. There are real-life mad scientists out there, worse than you could ever imagine. From a scientist that would collect his victims' eyeballs to another that would amputate and reattach his victims' limbs. Let's talk about this and more only in today's video. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host, Lindsay Ivan, and today we are looking at the top 10 evil scientists in history that went mad part 2. If you like this video, you want to see maybe part 3, then make sure to smash that like button and obviously subscribe to our channel. With that being said, let's get on with this video. Starting off this countdown, we have Shiro Ishi. Shiro Ishi was a microbiologist and the Lieutenant General of Unit 731. Unit 731 was a biological warfare unit during the Second Japanese War. Well, in 1936, Ishi built a huge compound where he would perform a number of disturbing experiments, including cutting pregnant women open to study them. These women were often impregnated by Ishi's doctors. Another experiment consisted of having someone's limbs amputated and then reattaching them to other parts of their body. Others had parts of their bodies frozen and then thawed, so he could study what would happen if you didn't treat gangrene. Trust me though, it gets worse. Other prisoners were his test subjects for grenades and flamethrowers, or he would inject others with diseases to study their effects. Everything he did was horrific, and he was sadistic. He loved torturing people and running disturbing experiments on them. In our 9th spot today, we have Sidney Gottlieb. Sidney was an American military psychiatrist that worked with the CIA during the Cold War. This guy was the head of the MK Ultra projects. Basically, they were super unethical experiments where people were injected with high levels of LSD. Others were subjected to electrical shocks or were left in isolation or injected with other chemicals. In fact, he went around and would drop LSD into innocent people's drinks and then observe the effects. Also, this dude was obsessed with poison. He wanted to poison any and everything. For example, he tried to kill Fidel Castro with a poisoned cigar, a poisoned wetsuit, and a poisoned fountain pen. Thankfully, people were like, no, Sidney, we're not doing that. Like, this dude just wanted to watch people either die, trip out, or suffer. Coming in at number 8, we have William Buckland. This dude, well, he was interesting. He was a geologist and paleontologist, but had a weird hobby he would partake in, which was eating things he shouldn't be eating. He ate things including roasted hedgehog, puppies, bat urine, ostriches, you get it, okay? That's not all. Apparently, he ate the shrunken heart of King Louis XIV. Yeah, you heard me. This dude, for some reason, ate a nasty old dead person's heart. Eating all of this weird stuff was apparently part of his experiments. Which was what? Seeing what weird thing would taste the best? I don't know what was going on here. Moving on at number 7, we have Sergei Brukhonenko. I'm so sorry, I know I already butchered his last name. Sergei was a Soviet scientist. He started off on the right track, kinda. He created a machine used to help perform the first Soviet open heart surgery, and then he spiraled into madness. He started to use this machine to try and do some messed up procedures, like take vital organs out of dogs. He killed hundreds of dogs with these operations. Basically, he would cut open the dogs, take out the organs, and hook them up to this machine to see if he could keep them alive outside of the body. His most famous and messed up experiment was called the dog's head, where he severed a dog's head and connected it to one of his machines, which then brought the head back to life, just the head. It even responded to being given a treat. It ate it, and then it fell right out because you understand. Of course, it died not too long after. Moving on at number 6, we have Stubbins Firth. If you guys are eating or drinking anything right now, I suggest you stop. This one is gonna make you sick to your stomach. Basically, in the 19th century, training doctor Stubbins Firth decided to do experiments on yellow fever. This was to show that it wasn't contagious, so he would experiment on himself. He would literally smear bodily fluids from patients with yellow fever all over his body. That's not the gross part, believe me. He even took their vomit and drank it, all in the name of science. Anyways, the real reason why he didn't contract it was because all the patients were in the final stage of yellow fever. By then, they weren't contagious anymore. Like, there has to be something wrong with you if you're going around drinking vomit. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Andrew Ure. This dude conducted a number of experiments on corpses. This involved taking dead people into the public and then shocking their body so that it would move. He then would control the dead body with these electrical probes. By doing so, he could cause the deceased eyes to open, their arms to move, and even change their facial expressions. He basically was a puppeteer for real dead people. Just let that sink in. Moving on, at number 4, we have Johann Conrad Dippel. This guy is said to be the inspiration for the book turned movie Frankenstein. First off, he was literally born at Castle Frankenstein, so there's that. And then he conducted a number of gruesome procedures on alive people and cadavers. In fact, legend goes that he once tried to transfer one cadaver's soul into another cadaver with the use of a funnel hose and lubricant. I'm sure you can imagine how that went. His main goal, though, was to achieve immortality. In fact, he got way too fixated on this and he ended up killing himself. Basically, in 1734, he was trying to find an elixir to make him live forever, and then he ended up creating a toxic substance, drinking it, and RIP. Moving on, at number 3, we have Sigmund Rascher. Sigmund was a scientist/doctor. In 1939, Sigmund asked his boss to send him human subjects for his experiments. He thought he had the cure for cancer and wanted humans to operate on instead of lab rats. That's when he got carried away with his power. He went from trying to cure cancer to torturing his prisoners. In fact, he wanted to see how little oxygen was needed to survive. So he would place prisoners in chambers that suck all the air out and just watch them die. He also conducted hypothermia research on 300 prisoners. 1/3 of them died a gruesome death. To make matters worse, he also would collect human skin and make saddles out of them. Coming in at number 2, we have Harry Harlow, aka the monkey torturer. Harry Harlow decided to see how strong a baby's connection is with their mother. For these experiments, he used baby monkeys and their moms. Here's the thing, he had this disturbing machine that would force monkeys to mate, and then he would basically torture the baby monkeys. His most controversial experiment was a device he called the Pit of Despair. Basically, he would place the newborn monkey in a small isolated chamber for periods up to a year. They had no contact with any living creature whatsoever. The monkeys ended up having serious problems that they could never grow out of. On a number of occasions, he said, and I quote, "To be honest, I don't even know why I'm doing this." Another one of his famous quotes would be, and I quote, "You mean you don't like being tortured? Fascinating." This dude was sick. And in the end, he had no real findings. He said, and I quote, "What is love? Well, you know that feeling you get when you've been locked in a tiny dark space alone for a year? It's the opposite of that." Like, what the actual heck? I could have even told you that. He just wanted an excuse to torture animals. And in our number 1 spot, we have Josef Mengele. This guy is considered one of the most evil scientists in history. Josef was a member of the Party, and in 1943 he was sent to work at Auschwitz. That's where he took advantage of the prisoners and decided to run experiments on them. In particular, he targeted twins. He would amputate their limbs, inject typhus in one, and then give them both blood transfusions. As you can imagine, hundreds died due to his experiments, which in reality weren't experiments. In fact, he was called the Angel of Death by the prisoners because of the messed up ways he would kill people. To make matters worse, he even would collect the eyes of his victims. In 1945, he was arrested by the Americans for his crime, but he managed to escape until he died in Brazil. Alright guys, that's all for today's video. I know it was a pretty heavy video, so we're gonna move on to the comment shout-out portion to, brighten up the mood. I'll be shouting out comments from the video, Top 10 Scary Things Told by Disney Employees, Part 9. Your local idiot commented, "Her, make sure to comment something down below." I mean, I did say something. It's true, you did technically comment something down below, so here's your comment shout-out. There you go. Arson commented, "I'm going to Disney tomorrow and I live in Florida. You are lucky. I haven't been to Disney in years, since I was a child. And even though I do all these scary Disney videos and exposing Disney, I truly love Disney and I want to go back." Floyd Goodwin commented, should have just called this top 10 ghost stories from Disneyland. LOL, it's true. I didn't realize how many ghosts are at Disney World and Disneyland, and then it just filled up the whole list, and I was like, okay, cool, we're just going with ghosts. That's fine. I liked the video. Hope you did too. Alright guys, that's all the comments I'm shouting out for today's video. Make sure to comment something down below for a chance to be featured in my next comment shout out. And as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Most Amazing Top 10 for more amazing videos. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan, and I'll see ya when I see ya.